What's the most illegal thing you've done? I had a website where I implied that I was a professional wrestler. The WWF was not entertained. I had a website where I implied that I was a professional wrestler. The WWF was not entertained. I was stopped by a cop because I walked through a crosswalk that had a red hand up, and he held me up for 10 minutes checking my ID and asking me what I was doing. Go on Disney.com without my parents' permission. I accidentally stole a teaspoon from a restaurant. I once bought a soda, and instead of paying $1.99, I only paid $1.95 and the cashier had no idea. Stole money from my workplace for a good 3 to 4 months without getting caught. I got nearly £2,500 during my little spree. I'll be serious here. When I was a kid/teenager, my family was part of Earth First. We protested logging of protected forests. I camped for 6 months in tripods 30 to 50 feet up 4 days on end. Food brought up, unquestionables down. It was federal land that was being logged, so technically the legality of our protest was questionable. My parents decided to leave one day to a major city in the same state. We found out the next day when we settled into a couch surfer/activist household that everyone the night prior was arrested. The feds came in at night with night vision and forcibly took the whole camp. I hung out of the window of a speeding car while underage drinking. It sure was illegal, but it was pretty damn fun. Accidentally shoplifted 2 little hand sanitizers by forgetting I had them in my pocket while we were grocery shopping. Held hands with a girl. A few times actually. Opened a lollipop going to the circus with my friend and his family when it said no outside food. Felt wanted for once. I used to steal giant chocolate chip cookies from this one vendor place. The worst part about it is that I thought they were free, so wouldn't even hide, never got caught, and it was at church. Ignored it and moved on when someone downvoted a fact I posted that wasn't even offensive. Recorded an NFL game with the express written consent of the Fox network, but not the National Football League. When I was just a baby, my mama told me, "Son, always be a good boy, don't ever play with guns." But I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Not going to specify, so that the Patriot Act doesn't ass fuck the rest of my life in a prison cell, but I may have been involved in drug-related felonies that can't be proven without a direct confession. Did this in college. Buy all your textbooks and keep the receipts. Return to the store later, that day or a few days later. Most bookstores don't give 100% refunds after the first week. Grab the book you bought off the shelf, take the book to the cashier, and tell them you want to return it, and show your receipt. If they require a reason, say you dropped the class, or are sharing the book with a friend. Get money back and leave. Never paid for books, and got money back on resale at the end of the term. Most cashiers they have, especially at the beginning of the term, when you are buying books, are temporary student workers who don't give a shit most of the time. Went around town taking orange cones and reflectors, and then returned them elsewhere in awkward and confusing places. On a car in someone's driveway, on a lamppost, all the positions of a baseball field, a line in front of a ticket window. Things like that. I flew from DC to San Francisco with a pound of dynamite in my carry-on bag in 2002. I forgot it was in the side pocket of my duffel until I was unpacking. I completely missed it. I won't say exactly all I did, but I worked protection for a higher-up drug dealer before he got arrested and sentenced to life. But if all my crimes were racked up, I would be facing at minimum 25 years in prison. A long time ago, I accidentally left a small personal firearm in its holster under my bed in a cabin at a federal park when I left. My SO had insisted I take it with us. The manager of the lodge called me the next morning and asked if I had forgotten something. I drove 70 miles to pick it up and fully expected to be arrested when I arrived. I wasn't, but I pretty much stopped carrying after that. I've never stolen anything. I didn't drink until I was 21. I've never done any illegal drugs. I've always paid my taxes, even on cash tips I've received. But I have gotten a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. come to the USA with a fake job and my grandmother as my mom, thus my actual mother is my sister. Legally on all papers I put down my grandmother's name for parent. I don't know how I'm gonna explain it to schools/jobs/other establishments when my grandmother, 77, passes away and I have to claim my parent is deceased while my real mother is still alive. I stole a lollipop when I was 5, then got the shit scared out of me because my uncle found out and said he was gonna call the cops. I used to copy books word for word onto Google Docs and share the document with everyone at school so we could all read the books we wanted to read that I had without having to pay for it. I was inside the house of a dealer where he kept his product. Don't know if that is illegal, but closest thing I've done illegal yet. Stole the firecrackers that you put on a cake. I was 5 at the time. My parents found out 20 minutes later and my dad went and paid the $3 for it. Disseminated the accounts and descriptions of a game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. I was a shoplifter in high school due to hunger. My mother wasn't a nice person and along with her husband, my now ex-stepfather, made it pretty clear me and my older brother were just dead weight. So, with the minimal provided for our lunch, we started a shoplifting thing. For food and drink before school was a weird system. Lasted a few years before it stopped. Searched and found child porn online. I was 11 years old, yet to be arrested for it, so that's cool. When me and my friends were kids we used to play reverse mailman, had no idea at the time it was actually a pretty serious felony. I'm a homosexual, so I'm basically already about to get the death penalty in a lot of countries. Engaged in prostitution. Granted that wasn't the plan, but after all was said and done he pulled out a bill. I was broke, so Columbia House thought so many people lived in my house. Those little postcards were too easy to fudge. I put $1 into a vending machines to get a pop. I got my pop and the machine gave me back my $1. Used a state police crossover to avoid traffic. I was heading to school one morning and had heard that debris from a bridge had fallen onto a roadway. It's not a big deal, and I thought that it would have cleared up by the time I had to go to class. Well, sure enough, it wasn't and the traffic was bad. I get up a little ways and see a guy already pulled over. I was nervous, but when I got to the next one, I went for it and just gunned it. I was sure that I was going to get caught, but I didn't. I was constantly watching my review for a short time after that, but nothing ever happened. I stole a pastry from a store one day after school because I was hungry and out of money. Returned the next day to pay for two and got laughed at by the store owner. Unchained a guy in the ocean. I could have gotten charged for terrorism, but they let me off because, at the time, I was already in trouble for other things. Apparently they never found the guy as well, hahaha. Sprinted drunkenly across national borders with a priest, a teacher, and some college classmates. Most of us made it, but a few of my buddies were interrogated at gunpoint. Slid through a red light because snow was a foot high and my tires had zero traction. The police car beside me also slipped through that red light. Left school and started to walk on the side of the highway, and I was put in a police car and I lied right in front of the officer's face on why I was there, and I got driven to my house, and I was grounded for 3 months and my parents were really surprised because I never acted like this before, and BTW I was in 7th grade. I smashed a cop's windshield with a baseball bat when I was 17. Was arrested and taken to jail, paid for the windshield, and walked though BC the cop was an asshole and my dad was friends with the mayor. Note in both stories I was in 5th grade. Once my friend suggested that we plant fake cocaine on my other friend. We were on a camping trip for 3 days 2 nights with our whole class. We didn't go through with it, but our cabin broke all the rules. We brought food from home, cookies, chips, soda, candy, our phones and a bunch of other stuff. Another time we went to Hawaii, and I got really attached to a few lizards I found, so I brought them everywhere with me. On the day we were departing we went to the beach one last time and OFC I brought my lizards with me. I accidentally left them at the beach, so I made everyone turn around to rescue my lizards. Unfortunately we were already late to our flight, so I just made everyone even more late. I somehow managed to sneak my lizards through satin security in my pocket, my fucking sweatshirt pocket. I sold pounds of weed to a network of dealers and whole scripts of pills, but no one ever suspected me because at the same time I was a dungeon master for D&D. If you liked this video, smash the like button and subscribe for daily dose of Reddit. Have fun and get reddited.